ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नाम्ने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So today's class will be on the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, texts 29 and 30. So we'll read the 29. Ve pathuh cha sharire me romaharshah cha jayate gandivam sramsate hastat tvak cha eva परिदह्यते। वेपतुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते। वेपथुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते। वेपथुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते। वेपथुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते। वेपथुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते वेपथुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते वेपथुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते वेपथुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते वेपथुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते वेपथु trembling of the body cha also sharire on the body me my romaharsha standing of hair on end cha also jayate is taking place gandivam the bow of Arjuna sramsate is slipping hastat from the hand tvak skin cha also eva certainly paridahyate is burning. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation: my whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand and my skin is burning. Please repeat. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand and my skin is burning. Purport. There are two kinds of trembling of the body and two kinds of standings of the hair on end. Such phenomena occur either in great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material conditions. There is no fear in transcendental realization. Arjuna's symptoms in this situation are out of material fear, namely loss of life. This is evident from other symptoms also. He became so impatient that his famous bow, Gandiva, was slipping from his hands, and because his heart was burning within him, he was feeling a burning sensation of the skin. All these are due to a material conception of life. Text 30. Nacha shaknomi avasthatum brahmati vachame manaha nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. Translation: I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune of Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. Purport. Due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stay on the battlefield, and he was forgetting himself on account of this weakness of his mind. Excessive attachment for material things puts a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. Bhayam dvityadhiniveshatah syat. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 2, Text 37. Such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium take place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. Arjuna envisioned only painful reverses in the battlefield. He would not be happy even by gaining victory over the foe. The words nimittani viparitani are significant. When a man sees only frustration in his expectations, he thinks, why am I here? Everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in the Supreme Self. Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self-interest by Krishna's will. One's real self-interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. Arjuna thought that his victory in the battle would only be a cause of lamentation for him. So, these are some of the symptoms. So, there are few symptoms mentioned here. So, first thing, his body was trembling, his hair was standing on end, his Gandiva bow was slipping from his hand, skin was burning, and he was unable to stand there, his mind was reeling, he was forgetting himself. So, these are all symptoms of a person who is too attached to material conception of life. So we can see this when somebody dies, when the relatives of close relatives of such a person, they exhibit symptoms similar to these. They are completely lost. You cannot talk to them anything. In fact, once it so happened that our devotees were called for, because he was one of the friends of us. He used to support the temple, and he used to contribute to the temple and all that. So he passed away. Then the relatives called devotees to do some kirtan. And the devotees went there. Actually, I was not there at that time. Some devotees told me. It was much before. So they were doing kirtan. They were doing, very intense kirtan. Then all of them got angry. They said, "This is past and you're celebrating. What is this? Why are you celebrating?" They feel that everybody should be, actually the kirtan, the holy name, is to bring about auspiciousness. One should not be lamenting. But they think that not only they should be lamenting, but everybody also should be lamenting with them. Where the devotees are actually coming to chant so that the soul will get help. So they don't see, because they're too much affected by the material loss. This is the exact reason why material attachment is condemned. People don't like when we say, "Oh, don't be too attached to family and don't be too attached to the country," especially family. People get very, "Oh, what are you speaking?" So they don't like it. But you think you can live with them forever? We say, try to become detached. But whether you like it or not, we have to become detached one day. As I said always, either by disagreement or by death. We have to separate. So, it is better, both are bad actually, either by disagreement or by death is a forced way. But the better way is to do it by knowledge. To understand that who am I. And Arjuna is playing the part of a perfect materialist here, by the will of Krishna. So that it makes a perfect stage for the Bhagavad Gita to be spoken. Because Bhagavad Gita is meant to enlighten us, awaken us. What is the darkness? What is the sleep or slumber that we are in, that we have to awaken from? What is the darkness that has to be dissipated by the enlightenment? What is that? That is ignorance. Just like when one is sleeping, he is ignorant of his real self. And in the dream, he may see some dangerous situation and he may be perspiring or he may be crying or sometimes we see people you know um, shouting something in the dream, some nightmares they're having. So all those symptoms, that fear, is all in the dream. It's because of the dream. But a person who is awake, if he sees his friend shouting like a madman, then he will laugh. What is he doing? But for him who is sleeping, who is seeing the dream, for him it is a life and death situation, something very dangerous. So the spiritual master is like the person who is awake. And we are the persons who are in deep slumber. And we are getting affected, we are fearful or sometimes happy. All this is in the dream of this material existence. Just like what is the difference between this awakened state and the sleeping state or dreaming state? It is analyzed in the Shastras that the only difference between the so-called awakened state and dreaming state is that this is longer and this is shorter. This is a little longer. So we take it this for real. Something is a little longer, we take it for real. This dream is maybe about few seconds, few minutes. This dream is about few years, maybe 100 years maximum. Just because it is a little longer, we think that this is reality. But from the viewpoint of eternity means like infinite years, right? Whatever you put on infinity, it becomes zero. Anything divided by infinity is zero. So even if it's millions or billions or trillions of years, lifetime, compared to the eternity of the soul, it is nothing. It's like a flash in time. So whether it's for a few seconds or a few minutes or a few years or a few hundreds of years or a few hundreds and thousands or millions, trillions of years, it is still nothing compared to the eternity of the soul. The soul, it is mentioned so many places. Nitya, Nityo Nityanam. We are Nitya. We are eternal. We never were born and we never die. We always continue from one body to another only. Only the start of this body is considered as birth. And the end of this body is considered as death. Otherwise, the soul has no birth or death or beginning or end. So, we get caught up in this wrong conception of life. That we are this body. This is when all the misconceptions start. It sounds very like, very simple. Oh, we are thinking we are this body. No, that's just the beginning. Body means, because when sometimes people think like this, oh, I'm suffering from this, and when we tell them, no, all this is because of attachment, so we have to become detached from this bodily conception of life. They say, what is the connection between this and that? No, connection is here that because I think I'm the body, and then the bodily extensions of like the family, wife, children, everybody, and friends, relatives, enemies, everybody is in relation with this body only. My country, my this thing, my species, everything is based on the idea that I am this body. So, due to our attachment, and when we say attachment, we also speak about the negative attachment, like hatred, for example. Hatred is also an attachment only. Because why? If we really hate a person, we will always be thinking of the person. Right? We are attached to the person in a negative way. It is just a flip side of attachment. Raga Dvesha. In fact, Narad Muni says, if one hates somebody, he thinks of that person more than the person he loves. So actually you are attached to the person in thought. So, we have to get detached from both attachment and aversion. Because aversion is another type of attachment only. So that is only possible if we come out of this bodily concept of life. Because as long as we are in this concept of life, we will make distinctions. Because whatever is conducive for my sense gratification, or whoever is helpful in my sense gratification, I consider him a friend. Or I consider that object as favorable. And something which is against my sense gratification, I consider the person as enemy or the thing as unfavorable. I get averse to that. For example, in a cold country, if we have to wake up early and take a bath, oh, that's People are averse to that because it is against their sense gratification. They're not comfortable. See, for example, so these are the things. But in spiritual discipline, one must wake up in the morning and take a shower immediately, whether in cold or hot country, whatever it is, and I still have to do it. So that is called tapasya, to overcome this attachment and aversion. So when we Krishna consciousness means whatever is pleasing to Krishna, I must do. If that is not pleasing to me, I have to give up that feeling of not pleasing. Whether it is feeling, I have to do it because Krishna wants. Or if something is pleasing to me but Krishna does not want, I have to give that up for Krishna. And I have to accept that thing which is not pleasing but still pleasing to Krishna. So, this is called Krishna consciousness. Here, Arjuna is doing exact opposite thing. He is averse to this fighting because of attachment. If I am having a negative opinion about something, it is based on a relative positive opinion about something else. So, it is because this is a world of duality. Dvandva mohena. Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata. See, ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. O scion of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arising from desire and hate. It's duality. So why Arjuna was averse to fighting the war? Because he was attached to his family members. He used the word swajanam. Swajanam means my family members. How can I kill? Before that he killed so many wars he was fighting in. Before Mahabharata. If you see the whole Mahabharata history, if you read, he fought with the Gandharvas, he fought with even the Devatas, he fought with so many Rakshasas, so many he fought. But that time he had no feeling because there was no sense of belonging. But here, the complexity of Kurukshetra, Mahabharata, this Kurukshetra war was that the so-called people who are standing against are his own men. So that became a very perplexed situation for him. So in our context also, we have to deal with many delicate issues. Of course, maybe not as severe as Arjuna, like he has to kill. But with people who are close to us, we may have differences, or we're too attached to somebody. These are all signs of distress in the future. If you are too attached to somebody, you're surely going to be in pain in the future. This is why the whole Vedic civilization is based on nivrittistu mahaphala. Pravrittiresha bhutanam nivrittistu mahaphala. Everybody wants pravritti, the path of material enjoyment, but actually they will enjoy far greater by nivritti, by path of material detachment. That will actually give them mahaphala, the greater fruit. The greatest fruit is achieved by detachment. This is why, from the very beginning of life, Vedic scripture says, don't be too attached. Yeah, we don't say don't be attached, because one immediately cannot give up all the attachment. So, one is allowed to slowly give up his attachment. How? Krishna is saying, Yad karoshi, yad asnasi, yad juhoshi, dadasi, yad tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, or whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So in other words, Krishna is directing us that not only you come to the temple and pray, or eat some prasadam here and go back, but whatever you do, whatever you eat, offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, everything, that means there is another verse actually. Bhagavatam 11:36. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वानुसृतस्वभावः करोति यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयेत्. In accordance with the particular nature one has acquired in conditional life, whatever one does with body, words, mind, senses, intelligence, or purified consciousness, one should offer to the Supreme, thinking, this is for the pleasure of Narayana. So, everybody, what is this in accordance with the particular nature? That means some of us are in the mode of goodness, some of in the passion, some in the ignorance, some are in the mixed modes of these three. So, accordingly, the whole human society is divided into Chaturvarnyam, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. This is a very scientific division of human society based on the gunas. One may abolish the caste system, but still you cannot abolish the higher and lower rungs of society. You cannot. Because Krishna said, this is my creation. You may erase the name, but you cannot erase the principle. Because it is Krishna's creation. Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam. I have created this Chaturvarnyam. Guna karma vibhagasaha tasya kartaram apimam mithya kartaram apiyam. According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me, maya system. So, to try to abolish the system is a demoniac activity. It was misused. That is another demoniac activity. People started discriminating. Brahmanas started discriminating the Sudras and the other castes. That is another nonsense. But to counter that, instead of rectifying the system, he abolished the system. I mean, this Arya Samaj, Dayanand Saraswati. He abolished the system. That is another nonsense again. Both are nonsense. If my eye is giving some pain or some cataract is there is a defect in the eye. If I take out the eye, if the doctor says, oh, you pain in the other pain, the eye is so painful, take out the eye. What kind of treatment is that? You have to remove the cataract. Then you can see. So the system was misused. So what should have been done was to put back the system in place with its proper understanding. Because they started dividing human society according to Janma. But Krishna says here, Guna Karma Vibhagasa. Krishna never said Janma Vibhagasa. Guna means qualities and Karma means work. Qualification and work determine the four varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But in India they read it as Janma Vibhagasa, according to birth. Oh, I am born Brahman. What is born Brahman? Born, everybody is Shudra. Janmana Jayate Shudra. Everybody is a rascal born, because if unless he is a fool, why he is going to school? If he is so learned, Brahmana means what, Brahma Janati ti Brahmana. One who knows the absolute truth, he is Brahmana. What is born Brahmana? When he is born, he knows absolute truth. He knows nothing. He is a fool. He has to learn ABCD. Unless he is a fool, he should not be going to school, right? If he is going to school, that means he was a fool. That means where is the Brahmana there? How does one become a Brahmana then? Samskara bhaved vija. Sanskar. There should be reformatory processes. Just like one gets admitted into the school. That is a reformatory process. Of course, now it is, in the sense, misplaced, because the so-called school actually teaches nothing about God. So the person is as ignorant after PhD as he was when he was born about himself. Because when he is born, he don't know who he is. Even after PhD, he still doesn't know who he is. He is still ignorant. What he learned was how to maintain his body. That is the education system. How to earn your livelihood, how to maintain your body, because you have to earn a livelihood, take some money and maintain your body and your family. That even dog is doing. Dog is also maintaining its body and family. Any tree is also doing that. Everybody is doing that. It doesn't require big PhD for this. But in the name of education, only ignorance is propagated. But Vedic system was that when he's 5 years old, Kaumara Acharit Prajna Dharman Bhagavatani, Prahlad Maharaj says. From 5 years old, you must start spiritual cultivation. Just like 5 years old, nowadays 3 years old, they're already putting in school. Children, 3, 4 years old, already in school, no? So why? That is the age one must put the child in Gurukul, where this knowledge is given. And when you learn about Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, these scriptures, it is not that you are unaware of what is going on in the material world. Oh, you are just cut away from the whole civilization. No. In fact, people who learn this science know about the material life far better than the materialists. And they know how much to get involved and how much not to touch it. How much it is dangerous. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, anyone who knows me knows everything. Yo mam evam asammudho janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. This is the result of education. One who knows Krishna knows everything. That means he is a perfect scientist, he is a perfect philosopher, he is a perfect doctor, perfect engineer, everything perfect. And what is the end? He therefore engages himself in full devotional service. So our education should make us serve God. That is education. If after education I say that there is no God, then a dog is also not believing in God. I am also not believing in God. I am as good as a dog. Because education has made me a dog or an ass. That is what I have become. So, in the name of education, actually it is only ignorance. So Arjuna was in such ignorance. And you see how much it has cost him now. He is becoming crazy because of such ignorance. This is where it will lead to. Because the path of material life starts with lust. Lust means the desire to enjoy my senses. Not just a sexual lust, but any desire to gratify our own senses is lust. And of course, the desire for sex is the highest, as well. It's called Adiras, highest enjoyment in the material world. And everything else is still lust, kama. Kama leads to what? This is actually very nicely explained in the Bhagavad Gita. The whole chronology of our downfall is mentioned here. Second chapter, 62nd verse and 63rd verse. Dhyayato Vishayan Humsa. First, what we do? We contact object of our sense. What is sense object? These are our senses, 5 senses we have. And for the eyes, a sense object means with eyes we can see. So anything that has form, anything that has no form, like air, we cannot see air because it has no form. Anything that has a form, we can see. So form is a sense object for the eyes. Sound is a sense object for the ears. And touch is a sense object for the skin. And then there is taste for the tongue. And what is the other one? Smell for the nose. So, with our senses, our sense object, we are contacting. That is how. This is the interface between us and the world. This material world. We are interacting with this material world through the interface of the senses. And the more we think, the more we contact these senses with the sense objects, that is pleasure. This is called sense gratification. Just because how my eyes are satisfied, anything, see, beautiful. Oh, why they want to go some exotic location? Why? They want to see some beautiful scenery, beautiful sunset, this, that. Or I want to see a beautiful girl. They always want to see. They always want to make the sense objects touch the senses. Always the senses must be engaged. That is why entertainment, why it is called manoranjan. Why the mind is, very, what is entertainment? The more contact points you have, the more engaging it is. Why video is more engaging than, say, audio or reading a book? Because in video you are using your eyes, you're using the sound, of course it's two primarily. But in audio there is only one. And if it is live, then I have more contact points, maybe. Touch, I can maybe touch. Smell even, all these things are there. So how much my senses are involved in something, that much I am engaged. So this whole, now they started another thing. They want to bring the, what is that? The facet of space or touch kind of illusion. VR, VR goggles. It gives you a sense of the space. Now, you're just seeing on a 2-dimension. Now, if you actually see it like as if you are in there, that is even more engaging. You see how the whole entertainment industry is to trap our senses, to keep them engaged, so that they're not withdrawn, and the mind is not engaged in anything higher. If there is no facility for sense gratification, there is more room for the mind to breathe. The mind can engage. Who am I actually? Why am I living, and why everything is created, and what? We start to question things. If we have nothing else to do, we will start to question. Like I remember also, when I was a small boy, one day we just, it was summer night, so it was very hot. So we just slept on the rooftop, and it was a clear sky. So many stars. I was just thinking, what is all this? It's nice, but what is? So there is some, inquiry that happens. Actually, any person who is a little sane, he will start to inquire. Actually, how is this all made? What is going on? I'm just taking these things for granted, but then how did these things come into place? It's a very grand arrangement. It's not a small thing. What is happening in front of our eyes? But we fail to see this if our senses are so engaged in our mind. If our senses are engaged, that means our mind is also there. Mind is drawn by the senses. There's a nice explanation of this. I think it's. $259 or 57 or what? What's that? Yeah, 267. You see this? Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano anuvidhiyate tadasya harati pragyam vayurnavam ivam bhasi. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. You see? Our senses are engaging with the sense objects, and the mind is just on, even if it focuses on one of the senses, it can carry away man's intelligence. Now, whole entertainment is to just, the mind is just dragged by the senses. And where is the intelligence of the man again? There is no intelligence. That's why people now, they don't even pause to think. What is life? So sometimes there are Krishna engineers situations, of course according to our past karma also, that we face reverses in life. We face some terrible situations where we have to stop and start to question. But the problem is, at that time, the mind is too afflicted to question these things. One will just think himself hopeless at that point. But if he actually spent some time cultivating the knowledge about what is life, he wouldn't be in such a pathetic situation when something reverse occur in life. People wait for these problems to go to God. And that's why they never understand God. Because they're only concerned with themselves. Even if they go to God, why do they go when there is a problem? Because they want their problem solved. God, you please solve my problem. They are asking God to serve Him, serve them. God, you better serve me, better solve my problem. Instead of we becoming His servant, we are asking Him to become our servant. This is the thing. That's why people don't understand God at all. They don't understand what is devotion. Devotion means not to go to God with a list, like shopping list. I want this, I want this. No, that is not a devotion at all. You are trying to squeeze something out of God. I will offer you one coconut and you give me this. What is it? Even shopkeeper won't agree to the deal. He wants God to agree to the deal. No, we should not take. And when nothing happens, there is no God. This is how they conclude things. Why we should listen to your demand? When he is demanding, you are not listening. And he should very, very respectfully listen to your demand. Get lost. So, and they conclude there is no God. So this is a gross disobedience. A devotee will never talk like this. And a devotee will never ask anything. Even if he is in danger, he will think, oh, anyway I have to go, I have to die. Let me die thinking of Krishna. So that is, he's only concerned with how, am I remembering Krishna or not? That's it. Whether he wants to save me, whether he wants to put me into trouble, and that I don't know. That is his desire. That I've many times told this story. It's in the Nectar of Devotion, I think, or Krishna book. So Narad Muni went to, because this is how actually the gopis loved Krishna. Gopis loved Krishna. They did not think of any discomfort for themselves. That is why their devotion is the highest. The story goes that Narad Muni went to Dwarka. 16,108 palaces Krishna had. And each palace he had one wife. 16,108 wives. And so he was just witnessing the whole thing. And then he entered one of the palaces and Krishna was sitting with a headache. So he asked, why? How come you are having a headache? This must be your Leela only. You know how you can have. So you tell me what is the medicine so I can do some seva, please I can get for you. So he said, no, actually I need some dust from the feet of my devotee. If I put on my head, that will cure my headache. So Narada said, no problem. Dwarka is full of devotees only. I'll go to Rukmini. He went to Rukmini. He said, chief queen. No? So he asked her, he is having this headache, so he's asking some dust of the feet of devotees. So you are the best devotee I know in the whole of Dwarka. So please give some dust from your feet. Rukmini started shouting at him. This is the Pativrata you teach me? You are Narad Muni, you are a saint. Wife putting the dust of her feet on her husband's head. She should take husband's dust and put on her head. What is this you are teaching? You don't know moral principles? You want me to go to hell for this? And then he approached other queens. Everybody started shouting at him. Then he was thinking, wow. Then he went to the city center. He stood on the tower and called everybody, please come, please come. So all the devotees, Dwarka citizens came, Narad Muni, Narad Muni. You are all devotees, great devotees of Krishna. That's why even the demigods cannot enter this city, Dwarka. You are staying here as residents. How much fortunate you are, better than all the devatas. So there are no devotees compared to you. So Krishna is having this headache. He wants some dust only from the feet of devotees. And you are great, great devotees. So please give some dust. Everybody started, what Narad Muni, what you are teaching? We are his servants. We cannot do this. You don't teach us nonsense. And Narad Muni was like, this is getting far tougher than I thought. Then he went back to Krishna and said, Krishna, you asked me a simple thing, but I am unable to do this. Of course, Narad Muni himself was a devotee. But the thing about devotees is that they never consider themselves devotees. I am not a devotee of Krishna. They will always think like that. So he himself would not give. That would be pride. So he himself would not give. He said, Krishna, this is getting far more difficult than I thought. Krishna said, you go to Vrindavan and ask the gopis. Then he was thinking, how will they do? All the arguments already these people have put forward. You go to hell for doing this, it's all Krishna is the master, we cannot do this. So he went to Vrindavan and asked the gopis. He said, I have some submission. I was in Dwaraka and Krishna, I met him. He has a headache. Everybody was, oh, he has a headache. What happened? How to cure this? No, he said that he needs some dust from the devotees. See, Gopi said, you don't ask for these things, just come and take. As much as you want, take. Then Arvind said, you are not afraid of going to hell because your dust feet is going on his head. So what, we go to hell? Let us go to hell. So what? Give him that, his headache must be solved first. See how the gopis were thinking. They did not care about where they went, what would happen with their activity. They just wanted Krishna to be happy, that's all. Whereas others, you see, they were considering their own self-interest also. Of course, it is not that they were lesser pure devotees or what. It's their transcendental mode. But it shows how devoid of all inhibitions the gopis love Krishna. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, Ramya Kachit Upasana Vrajavadhubi Ya Kalpita. The highest form of worship of Krishna is by the gopis. Whatever Krishna wants, I will do. That is exactly what Arjuna came to at the end of Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning he was like, I don't want to fight, my Gandiva is slipping, this, that, burning. But Krishna starts to speak Bhagavad Gita after this. The whole thing, instruction, and the end he says, Karishya vachanam tava. I will do whatever you say. At this point, now he is so much attached to his family and averse to fighting. After the Bhagavad Gita was finished, he was not attached to his family and he was not attached to fighting, nothing. He was only attached to Krishna. This is the thing. It is not that Krishna induced him to fight. Oh, some people they say like this. Arjuna was such a moral man. He did not want to fight. He wanted peace. Krishna is the one induced him to fight. They say Krishna is immoral. He danced with girls, so many girls. He had so many girlfriends, so many wives. And he asked Arjuna to see. Arjuna was wanting peace and Krishna induced him to fight and so many people died. They find so many faults with Krishna. But they don't understand the spiritual significance of these events. Krishna is not like a lusty rascal, in this world, who needs some gratification of his genitals to go to the girl to rape her. He is Swarat. He is himself, he is happy. He does not need anything or anybody else to give him happiness. In this world, the man requires a woman because the man lacks certain things. So the woman has this. And the woman lacks certain things which a man has. So they both must unite in order to gratify. But in Krishna, there is no lack of anything. He is perfect in everything. He does not need anyone to gratify himself. He is independent. Then why is he dancing with the girls? They want to serve him in that capacity. So he accepts their service. If somebody wants to serve him as a parent, like Yashoda, she wants to serve him as a parent, alright, he accepts her as his mother. Somebody wants to be servant as a friend, like Arjuna, he accepted like that. Here he became servant as a driver for Arjuna, Parthasarathi. So he accepts how the devotees want to serve him. That's all. And the devotees are always thinking how I should serve Krishna. That service can be in any way. Service means when I'm a servant, it does not mean that I should, servant means not only the person who, yes sir. No, that is one type of servant. That is Duta, like Hanuman. Ram Duta Hanuman. So, that is Dut. Whatever Ram says, that's it. That is my order. That is my, command. So, Ram's order is his command. That's it. He works on that principle. He does not play jokes with Ram. No, he doesn't do that. In fact, he's so conscious to serve Ram like a servant that when he went to Lanka to find Sita, when he came back, he knew Ram was in total anxiety. So, when he reached, the first thing he said, he wanted to give the news in the best possible way, so that Ram's anxiety would immediately be reduced. So he could have said, Sita is found. But he thought, if I say Sita's word first, then in the suspense of the next word, he might even faint. Ram might faint. So he said, found Sita. So that immediately the first word was found. I found Sita. So that much he was conscious of how to please Ram like a servant. Even which word to use first so that he's. That is one. But service like the mother in this world, the mother serves the child, right? The mother serves the child. That is also service. But that is a different flavor of service. Employee serves the boss. That is also service. And the boss serves the customer. That is also service. Customer service, they call it. And now the Malaysia elections are going on. Big leader. What the leaders are? They're supposed to serve the public. They're called public servant. Everybody is a servant. The different capacities of service only. So it may, the leader of the country may sound like a higher position, but actually he's a servant of the rest. See that? So in the spiritual world, this is of course a perverted reflection, but in the spiritual world, these same things exist. So sometimes the service to Krishna can be from a higher platform, like a parent. Like Yashoda, she is, chastising Krishna with a stick, tying him up with a rope. But this is service, and Krishna enjoys that more than the prayers of the great devatas. More than that, he enjoys the scolding of Yashoda. It's more intimate. Just like Prime Minister, he is, when he goes to the stage and he speaks very formal things and very, official things, official statements. But when he goes to his house, his wife may shout at him. But he takes pleasure in that. He may become, like a horse for his grandchild, maybe. He will, on his four legs, two legs, and he'll be crawling like this, and the grandchild will be sitting on the back, and he can do that in the president office. He cannot do that. But he enjoys that at home, because it's a different flavor of relation. He may be a big leader, but he has his intimate relationships also. Similarly, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and yes, we should offer our prayers, our respectful prayers and everything. But then there are another class of devotees who are serving him in different stages, different dimensions. Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakhyaras, Vatsalya, Madhuryaras. So these are all, appreciate the greatness of Krishna. That is called Shantaras. To appreciate the greatness of Krishna. The next step is, if he is so great, then I must serve him. So that is Dasya, a servant. Then when one becomes even more advanced, then Sakhyaras, friend, equal level with Krishna. Like Arjuna, like that. He says also in Bhagavad Gita, after he sees the whole Virat Rup, the universal form, then he is shaking with fear. Oh, how great is Krishna! Krishna, sorry, I have called you Yadava, and I have called you friend. I ate with you on the same plate. I slept on the same bed. I joked with you. I sometimes even made fun of you, not knowing that you are this so powerful Supreme Personality of Godhead. Please forgive me. Arjuna was saying this prayer in the 11th chapter. So actually, it is not out of ignorance that Arjuna did that. It is out of Yogamaya. Yes, ignorance of Krishna's greatness, but out of Yogamaya. There are two things. The devotees or the materialists, they are forgetful of Krishna's greatness. That is understood. But the devotees who are very exceptionally intimate devotees of Krishna, they also forget the greatness of Krishna. Then you may say, what is the difference? Like the gopis, they never cared whether Krishna was Supreme Personality of God. They just was more than anything to them in the world. So, you may say, oh, then what is the difference between an ordinary person and them? The difference is this. It doesn't matter whether one understands the greatness of Krishna or not. The difference is, by the potency, there are two mayas. One maya is here, Mahamaya, the illusory energy of the Lord, which is in the material world. And another maya is Yoga Maya. That Yoga Maya acts in the spiritual world. And under her influence, we actually engage in Krishna's service. Whereas under the influence of Mahamaya, we give up Krishna's service. See? So, in the spiritual world, they also forget. But their remembrance of Krishna never goes off. By that you can understand whether it's Yoga Maya or not. The gopis are so intensely associating with Krishna that they cannot forget him even a moment. So that means it is Yoga Maya. But here, I don't know the greatness of Krishna and I forget him. That is Mahamaya. So how much we are attached to Krishna, that is what matters. Of course, that does not mean that then why we read all this Bhagavad Gita? Throw away all this, I just want to be attached to Krishna. No, don't imitate. That is for exceptionally high devotees. They are already crossed the platform of knowledge. And then it is, and those eternal associates of Krishna, they are already, to serve Krishna means the highest knowledge. It's not that they don't have, these Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, the 6 Goswamis, Jiva Goswami. They all are Manjaris. Manjaris means the assistant gopis of the Ashtasakis. The principal 8 Sakis, gopis. They all are assistants to them. They have descended in this world to propagate the movement of Krishna consciousness. You see how the Jiva Goswami writes, how Rupa Goswami writes, Sanatana Goswami writes. Even they don't have any knowledge, buddhus. No, they knew everything. But by Krishna's Yogamaya potency, suppose if Yashoda, just like when she ate, Krishna ate dirt, and then Yashoda asked him to open his mouth. When she saw the whole creation and this universe, and then she saw herself also looking into Krishna's mouth, inside his mouth. When she saw all this, she was bewildered. Who is this personality? Who am I looking at? What am I looking at? Then suddenly she became so overwhelmed. This is Supreme Personality. Then she was fainting. Then Krishna made her forget. Oh, you are my son. So if she knows that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, she will not say, you are my son, and she will not scold him, she will not chastise him. But Krishna wants all that. How will that happen then? The only thing is that person has to forget. So he makes them forget. So in this case, Arjuna's case, he was forgetful. Actually, it is by Yogamaya's potency that Arjuna was forgetful. Because the stage has to be set for Bhagavad Gita to be spoken. So it was Krishna's plan. Because if you are really with Krishna, you will never be in ignorance. How can Arjuna be in ignorance while being with Krishna? No, it is not possible. But he is put in this case, put in this situation by Krishna's Yogamaya potency, but it appears like the effect of Mahamaya. For us, it is effect of Mahamaya. So we learn, because actually Arjuna is representing us. Just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, great acharyas, they write songs. They say things like, I have no devotion for Krishna, I am an absolute fool, I am fallen, the most fallen. They are actually not fallen. They are representing us. They are teaching us how to pray to Krishna. We should not pray to Krishna, Krishna, I am your greatest devotee, every day I am chanting your name, you must save me. If I am saying that means I have no devotion at all. A person who has real devotion will never say he has so much devotion. If he is saying, I am a devotee, I am fully surrendered. That means you can understand from that point itself you are not surrendered at all. Because who must give you the certificate you are surrendered or not? Krishna must give you the certificate. Not I give myself certificate, I am surrendered. How do I know I am surrendered? Yeah, if you really surrender, Krishna asks you to kill your grandfather, you will kill him. Then what surrender you are? What is that surrender? Here Arjuna said, Krishna said, you kill your grandfather. Alright, I will kill. That is at the end. Now no. Now he is like totally bewildered. That is surrender. Anything Krishna asks, you must be prepared to do. That is surrender. So we cannot say that I am surrendered at any point. Krishna will test our surrender. If we say we are surrendered, Krishna will test. And whether we break or not, whether we make it or whether we will be broken, that has to be seen. So we should not fake, we should be very humble therefore. Even if one is advanced devotee of Krishna, he will always present himself as the most fallen, most incapable. That position is very safe for spiritual growth. Instead of saying, oh, I'm big devotee, I'm this and that. Pride goes before fall. That's exactly what happens even in devotional life. We cannot be proud. Therefore, Trinadapi Sunichena. So we have to become nimitta. We have to become the instrument of Krishna. So that's the whole Bhagavad Gita. This is setting the stage nicely. Krishna. How many symptoms? Actually, that verse, I should have showed you. So, dhyato vishayam pumsa sangas teshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho vijayate. See, the chronology of fall down or downfall. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. See? And from such attachment, lust develops. And from lust, anger arises. This is how, we are starting our downfall. Our senses are interacting with sense objects. And if I see something, I want that. So, the desire, a person develops attachment for them. See? And from such attachment, lust develops. And lust is something which will never be satisfied, no matter how you try to satisfy. Dushpurena analena cha, in the 39th verse of the 3rd chapter. Krishna says, this is like fire. In the Manusmriti also it is said, lust is like fire. Fire is always hungry for fuel. Oh, you're hungry, okay, give it fuel. It will become bigger fire and ask for more fuel. Oh, bigger fire, okay, give more fuel. Fire is hungry. So become bigger. And it will never stop. It will never show any mercy. And may burn us also. So, the best way to satisfy or extinguish the fire is not to supply the fuel at all. Therefore, if the desire is there, it is not that, there is one group, Osho, he's a rascal. Of course, his whole criminal record is another story. But his philosophy itself is another rascaldom, because he says that enjoy your senses until you automatically give up all these attachments and you become detached. Because we say what? Refrain from attachment. So stay away from the attachments. So he says, no. If you are feeling attached, just give in to that. And enjoy yourself as much. Finished? Okay, fine, come on. Then now you don't have any more desire. No, but it doesn't work like that. If there is an itch, you feel like scratching it. But it won't grow worse if you don't scratch it. The moment you start scratching, it will become worse and worse and worse. It will become a big wound. That's exactly how lust is. Kandunayana karayor iva dukkha dukkham. Yanmaithunad grihamedi sukham hitucham. These are actually very strong words, but this is the actual truth. Yanmaithunad grihamedi sukham hitucham. Kanduyanena karayor iva dukkha dukkham. Dukkha dukkham. Dukkha squared. Tripyandineha kripana bahu dukkha. Again dukkha. Bahu means lot. Bhaja kandotivam manasijam vishaheta dhira. Sex life is compared to the rubbing of two hands to relieve an itch. Grihamedhis, so-called grihasthas who have no spiritual knowledge, think that this itching is the greatest platform of happiness, although actually it is a source of distress. The kripanas, the fools who are just the opposite of brahmanas, are not satisfied by repeated sensuous enjoyment. Those who are dhira, however, who are sober and who tolerate this itching, are not subjected to the sufferings of fools and rascals. See this? Therefore, even the very institution of marriage is itself a sign of detachment. Because not everybody can immediately give up all these desires and become sannyasis. It's not possible. Very rare, few can do that. but mostly they want to engage. So instead of unrestricted enjoyment with every woman, instead of raping every woman, only one woman just for procreation and take responsibility of the children. And this is called sacred marriage. It's called sacred. That's why Krishna said. Otherwise, it is nonsense. Not this. 11:32. Not this. Dharma viruddha. 7:11. Balam balavatam cha aham kamaraga vivarjitam dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. I am the strength of the Krishna is saying this. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life which is not contrary to religious principles, the Lord of the Bharatas, Arjuna. So sex life is not condemned, but one must take responsibility for procreation and to make sure the children become Krishna conscious. That is why it is said in the Bhagavatam. And then it is approved. Nothing is disapproved in Krishna consciousness. Only how to do it. Gurur na sasyat, svajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat, daivam na tatsyan, napatisya sasyam, namo chayadya samupeta mrityum. Bhagavatam is asking us not to become these things if we cannot fulfill the actual goals of such. One who cannot deliver his dependence from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, a relative, a father, a husband, a mother, or a worshipable demigod. So we cannot assume these positions if we cannot give moksha to our dependents. So that means we have to take responsibility of not just material. Giving them material education is the worst thing you can do. Nowadays children are going to school and they are becoming spoiled only. Actually. But the system is also in such a way you are forced to send them. At least as much as possible, refrain. No need of degree, then masters, then PhD, then another. What is the use of all that? What is the use? In the end, you have to live only, right? You need some food to eat, you need some shelter, you need some clothing. These are the basic necessities. Other than this, what you need? What is the big use of all these credentials? You know? But still they don't know who they are. What is the use then? And they're becoming atheists. And not only that, one boy, he just is a 15, 16-year-old boy. He comes to our temple. And he's saying, now in his class, more than half of his class, they're watching pornography on their phones. In the school, in the class. And they're asking him to watch also. And when he's not watching, they're making fun of him. Openly. And he was saying his friends were masturbating 5 times a day in the school. I don't know how many more times at home. What is all this? Animals, this animal civilization. What is the use of all this education? And this kind of education, you send the children, you think they'll come out saintly people. Very saintly people they'll come out. Is it? And when the child has a problem, they'll send to the temple. Oh, please help, my child. When we asked you to send, that time you did not send. Now everything is spoiled, now you want to send the child to the temple. Why temple is always the last resort? When everything fails, then only come to temple. Even in movies also they show like that. Doctor, tries everything. Now we have tried everything. Only God, last. As if, as if he is better than God. Wait, God can wait. I will do first. No, I cannot do. Just ask God. That's the last option. As if like God is dirt. Everything depends on God. If the God wills, even if there is no surgeon, he will come out alive. So many stories are there. And the best surgery will still fail if the Lord wants. It's a nice verse, Prahlad Maharaj is offering. बालस्य नेह शरणं पितरौ नरसिंहं नाथस्य चागदमुदन्वन्ति मज्जतो नौ तप्तस्य तत्प्रतिविधिर्य इहाञ्जश्रेष्ठस्तावद्विभोतनुभृतां तदुपेक्षितानाम्. My Lord Narasimhadev, O Supreme, because of a bodily conception of life, embodied souls neglected and not cared for by you cannot do anything for their betterment. Whatever remedies they accept, although perhaps temporarily beneficial, are certainly impermanent. For example, a father and mother cannot protect their child. A physician and medicine cannot relieve a suffering patient. And a boat on the ocean cannot protect a drowning man. Even the best physician and medicine, the person may still die. And father and mother try to protect the child. But sometimes the child dies. It happens. So if the Lord wills, that's why it said, Mare Krishna Rakhe ke, Rakhe Krishna Mare ke. That means if Krishna wants to kill somebody, nobody can protect him. And if Krishna wants to protect someone, nobody can kill him. So ultimately it is Krishna only whose will reign supreme. But we are relegating him to the last option. When everything fails. Even in India, the one who chant the priests, how they end up as priests? The parents, they send first to school. And maybe they have 3-4 children or more. So the one who is very studious and very topper in the class, he is sent for further education and go overseas, university, this, that. The one who cannot fare so well, okay, you learn some mantras and become a priest in the temple. It's true. And the Tirupati, the big priest, their children are going overseas to study. Universities. What is the point? We went to Srirangam, the headquarters of Sri Sampradaya Vaishnava. Sri Vaishnava. So we went to Srirangam in 2009. So we met the assistant head priest of the temple. Srirangam temple. How big? The biggest temple on earth. Vishnu temple on earth. Not the structure itself, but the whole compound, everything is the biggest. So we went and met the assistant head priest. His house was actually just beside the Gopal Bhatta Goswami's house. Gopal Bhatta Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis. His father Venkata Bhatt house was there, and this assistant chief priest was, I think, 2 or 3 houses beside. So we met him. So he was saying, I'm assistant head priest. He was also actually working only before. Now he's retired. He's doing Sevada. And as we were speaking, then his son came on the motorbike. Then he introduced his son. Oh, here is my son. He is a railway officer. Then Sundar Gopal Prabhu asked him, what? Your son is a railway officer. It's a third-class job. Told him straight in the face. He was proudly telling actually, my son is a railway officer. What railway officer? Third-class job. Why? Your assistant head priest, your son must be preaching the glories. What did Ramanujacharya do? Because they were from Sri Sampradaya, the followers of Ramanujacharya. What did Ramanujacharya do? He preached. Why don't you take up his mission of preaching? How many souls are suffering in the world? There are so many people who can fill in the post of railway officer. There are millions of them waiting. Vacancy, people are waiting, unemployment, job vacancy. Let them take. Why your son can't preach the glories of Lord, what is this? Ranganath. Ranganath is the deity's name there. Why can't you do that? Why are you so... Then he said, what? Hey, if we don't work, even Ranganath also cannot fill our bellies. He patted his stomach like that. He had a big belly. Even Ranganath also cannot feed our stomachs if we don't work. You see? What faith he has. Yes, normal people, if they work, that's another thing. They don't know. Whatever it is. Maybe they can give some work and give some donation to temple. That's another. But you are head priest, assistant head priest of the temple, of the headquarters of Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. And you are talking like this? So see how much bewilderment. Because why? That's why the whole so-called Hinduism is a waste of time. It's a more of a pain than an asset now. Why? They don't consult the scriptures at all. No one reads the Bhagavad Gita at all. No one has any respect for the book even. At least you open and see what is inside. No. Hindus. Anybody who comes in, we pray. Yes, we put in the altar. Anybody who says I'm God or I'm Guru, just put his picture in the altar and do puja. That's all. Whether it is Sai Baba, Ali Baba, put everybody there. What if somebody is really God or not? We will get cursed. No? Better put there. If you read Bhagavad Gita, you will understand what is God. How one man can become God. This is the problem. If in Islam you have no regard for the Quran, you will be considered an infidel. If in the Sikh, the Sikh religion, Gurudwara is here. If you don't have any regard for the Guru Granth Sahib, then you are infidel. If in Christianity you don't have any regard for Bible, you are infidel. But in Hindu, they are big devotees. They in fact say, what you know Bhagavad Gita, all bookish knowledge. I have direct connection with Krishna. They talk all this rubbish. Now you're not as direct. You are going through book and all that. I have direct. What to speak to idiots like this? And they are the ones who are spoiling the religion. Actually, people are not say, Christians are converting Hindus and Muslims are converting. Don't blame them. They are converting because your own religion is trash now. Because why? Nothing. What you are teaching people? What are you teaching? The priests in the temple, what they are doing? Collecting some donation, put some fire, the arati, collect donation. How much is falling on the plate? That is their concern. Where they are holding classes, and if somebody holds classes, he is also speaking some nonsense. Some Mayavadi stuff, Oh, God is ultimately Nirakar, Nirgun, Brahma. Oh, God is not a form. Any form you imagine that is God. You yourself are God. Just that you do not know that you are God now. Once you become liberated, you understand that you are God. My brother was distributing books. We have a book table there. This was like 8-9 years ago. So he showed, because one lady came like this with a stupid philosophy. And he said, we are all God. She said, we are all God. Then, of course, my brother asked very harshly. I mean, for this kind of person, what we want to be very nice. Of course, we must put some sense into their head. My brother said, you can control your urine or not, first of all. You're saying God means supreme controller. When you get urine, you can control or not, first of all. You will rush to the toilet. What kind of God you are? No. Now we don't realize we are God, but once we become liberated, we become God. Then Krishna said, no, you must hear first Bhagavad Gita. No, she said, no, that Bhagavad Gita I only spoke. I'm God. That's it. I forgot now. This is like crazy. Then he showed Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Vraja. Yes, surrender to me. So when you read surrender to me, so you must surrender to yourself. And you see how her mind is working. Because Krishna says, Mamekam Saranam Vraja. Mam means me. So when I'm reading, surrender to me. Oh, surrender to me. No. Is that how you read a book? Any book will have an author, correct? And if the author is saying, I was like this, my life was like this, it doesn't mean that my life is like this. What is this nonsense? See how they interpret? No brains at all. No brains. So, these kind of things happen. Even though the people are speaking, that is also so misleading. Therefore, it is very careful. Prabhupada actually said, bona fide spiritual master. You maybe search bona fide spiritual master, how many times? Let's search. In the whole of Prabhupada's teachings, $2,534 times Prabhupada repeated the word bona fide spiritual master. Other variations of the same thing I haven't counted yet. Just the words bona fide spiritual master 2,534 times. Why he is saying so many times? Because it's so essential. If we get this knowledge from some rascal upstart, then our whole thing, that's why Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidhim Vina Aikantika Hare Bhakti Uppata Eva Kalpate. This is from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Rupa Goswami is writing this. What is that? Devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures like the Upanishads, Puranas, and Narada Pancharatra is simply an unnecessary disturbance in society. It's a disturbance. Oh, I'm doing bhakti, this, that, but I don't consult the Vedic literatures. Oh, this is all bookish knowledge. This is rubbish. Unnecessary disturbance in society. Yes, the gopis are in that stage. Don't act like one gopi. Don't imitate. We cannot do anything that they did. Okay? So we should follow the standard procedure given by the acharya. That's why we must ado guruvashrayam. What the guru says, we follow first. This is called Vaidhi Bhakti. When one is purified, then it comes Raganuga Bhakti. Then you automatically have the natural feeling of devotion. Sometimes people say, oh, I am very devoted. Then we ask them, how many times you are chanting Krishna's name in a day? No, I always chant. Oh, really? Always? And what are you eating? I eat sometimes eggs, sometimes. What you can chant Hare Krishna like that? You're killing. How you can chant? Simply fast. They're actually not chanting. Simply they make a show. Lie. So if really I am a devotee, then I must be so attracted to Krishna, I cannot stop chanting Krishna's name. That is how Rupa Goswami is saying, Tunde Tandavani Ratim. He says, I want millions of years, I want millions of tongues to chant Krishna's name. He's asking like that. That means that much taste he has. We have one tongue already, 16 rounds when I want to finish. It's a drudgery. Of course, if one follows everything, it won't seem a drudgery, even at this present stage. But if you don't follow principles, if you don't, follow the whole program properly, then it becomes, difficult. Our material desires will always fight to take the place, take our time, and we cannot chant. We should chant 16 rounds, at least every day. We should never go less than that. Okay, if you're starting out, that's another thing, but quickly come to the point of at least 16 rounds. Don't remain in the stagnate at the 4 rounds, 8 rounds, 12 rounds. No, 16 rounds. It's very easy. It's not at all difficult. Don't say don't have time. Everybody has enough time actually. It's just how you manage. Just wake up a little earlier when nobody wakes up. Enough time you can finish. So, any questions or comments on this topic? Any questions? Online. I don't see a comment there. There's one comment, but I can't see it. I don't know what that is. Okay, anyway, there's no questions. Stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavad Gita.